Arsenal drop points for only the second time this season. Controversy being claimed by a number of Arsenal fans with the so-called dive by bukayo Saka that many believe should have been a penalty or maybe a red card for the Southampton player. Gabriel Jesus denied a penalty as well. It was a good fight back from Southampton, though. Credit has to be given to them, and a very leggy performance from Arsenal in that second half. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. I want to know what you think to this. I would call it a shock dropping of points, but certainly going against the run of the grain. Only the first time since the beginning of February that Arsenal have scored the first goal and not won the football match, but they are still top of the league. Hit the like and the share button. Let's go.
Absolutely magnificent.
It was a very, very, very good result for Southampton today. Most people predicted that Arsenal would be the victors, but it goes to prove to us all again that no matter what you think, no matter how likely a result, football is the ultimate king in sport at giving you shock results. And Arsenal started brilliantly in this game. They moved the ball well. Another fantastic goal from Granit Xhaka. He hadn't scored a goal on his right foot for Arsenal until this week, and he has two in the space of a week. And you're looking at it and thinking Arsenal are going to run away with this. There's a very contentious couple of moments in that first half as well that we want your opinions on, of course. First and foremost, there was the Gabriel Jesus foul, arms wrapped around him as he's running through on goal, identical to that of Scott McTominay's penalty that he conceded against Chelsea yesterday. And then the bukayo Saka foul, adjudged to have dived there on the line, whether it's a free kick or whether it's a penalty. If that's a foul, it's clearly a red card as it goes through on goal. Clear contact made, but the referee adjudged this to be a dive by bukayo Saka. So, of course, Arsenal fans furious at that not being given. So we want to get your take on that. Of course, we have to, but we have to speak about the game as well. Arsenal leggy in that second half. Jessica Black on the show in midweek was talking about slight lack of intensity in recent games, a little bit of fatigue and tiredness coming in. Absolutely cooked by a lot of Arsenal fans online. And you could clearly see in that second half, the legs just weren't quite there. Playing twice a week is difficult, as we all know. And this is the Premier League for you. This is the Premier League for you indeed. So we want to go through it. We want to get your thoughts. We want to get your feelings and opinions on all of this. Get your super chats and member chats in as well. We will go through as many of them as all super chats get done and as many member chats as we can. This is here from Deshane. He says the ref was absolutely diabolical today. I will say this about the ref. I know they want to let the flow of the game go, but I must have seen Gabriel Jesus dragged to the ground 5, 6, 7 times in that game and nothing given. I was really surprised by that. Dan here, a Tottenham fan, says, Gal, come outside. Where are you? I thought we saw that coming. No pen, Saka dived is what's being said here. Arsenal just keeping the nest warm for City is a bunch of jokers. I will say this, though, Blue Viper. We can't change the narrative. Most people predicted Arsenal to not finish in the top 4. If they don't win the league, it isn't an underachievement based on the beginning of the season expectations. What was going to be interesting about a win today, though, I had this stat ready, and it didn't come to fruition. If Arsenal would have won today, they would have had 30 points. Only 3 other teams in the history of the Premier League, City, Chelsea, and Liverpool, have had more points after 11 matches, which was 31. And no team has ever had 29 points or more after 11 games and not won the league. So it's very interesting what that dropping of points does, because for me, it's, historically speaking, they were favourites of the league if they won today. No team has ever had 30 or more and thrown it away. Looking tired, no squad depth. The demise begins is what Shane P. Casey thinks here. Thinks the demise is starting for Arsenal. Do any other viewers genuinely believe that to be true? I do want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that. Arsenal look finally run out. Got away with it versus Leeds, but not today, is what VK Dean has got to say. Terry's gutted. Not really. I do love how my joke the other day of me supposedly saying we about Arsenal. People go, I knew it. It's a joke, my friends. There we go. Poor ref, bad performance. Take your pick. We move, is what David says there. Terry, is this the beginning of the end for Arsenal? I don't personally think so. I think that's far too ironically, like when Arsenal fans say I think we could challenge for a title, everyone says that's premature. Arsenal drop points for only the second time this season. It's only the second game this season they haven't won. And that's it. End of them. Come on now. That's probably even more hyperbolic. James here says absolute dive, of course, referring to bukayo saka. This super chat here says, as an Arsenal fan, we were poor in the second half and we should have taken our chances in the first. I'm not taking anything away from the awful performance, but the ref needs to be looked at, is what's been said there. No Arsenal fan should complain because yesterday that wasn't a penalty against us. The refs are terrible. The thing is, though, this is my issue. I try to be as consistent as possible. So when we look at the Gabriel Jesus, I said that yesterday I thought that Scott McTominay's was a penalty, especially as Scott McTominay gets to the ball, right? The ball was overhit and went out for a throw-in. It would never have been given because although it's a foul, Bro was never getting there, and it wasn't a dangerous foul or a malicious foul. That's why certain shirt pulls aren't given because there's no benefit. But if Scott McTominay's is a foul, if you're wrapping two arms around the player is a foul, this is the same. And I did hear the commentator say, well, he didn't hold on long enough. But he held on long enough. If he doesn't do that, then Gabriel Jesus is on balance and has a much better opportunity of getting that ball under control and scoring. So for me, most certainly is a foul, personally speaking. But I said yesterday's was a foul. You know, I'm just keeping consistency here in relation to that. All I see are the obsessed haters out here in force is what Millie has got to say in relation to that. Why are Arsenal fans crying about refs? There wasn't moaning about refs. Well, this is the thing. I am interested in that. I mean, there's been a few decisions recently where the likes of a gal have laughed because they've had the rub of the green. The reason why I don't really laugh when it happens is because it's going to come back to get you and bite you in the backside in a few weeks. That there's no conspiracy. There's just poor decisions at times. Wrong subs today. I don't know why he took Odegaard off. Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a little bit poor, really, from him. Like Odegaard, I mean, there's a lot of good passes from him. He scored a few moments earlier. The ball just went out. And I felt like after Odegaard came off, there was a lack of impotence. Is that the word? No, not impotence. Impotence is floppy, isn't it? What's the word I'm looking for? There's like a drive. There's like a creativity anyway. There is a word that sounds like that I'm looking for, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway, we move. Having a second choice striker like Nketiah will not get the job done winning these league games. That's weird that just fell off. Anyway, sorry. We're not going to win these league games. I'm not having it, is what Alberto says here. Saka, no penalty because he threw his foot towards the foul. Had it been a normal running motion and his foot got caught, they'd call it good refereeing, is what's been stated here. And I'm sure we'll talk to the panel about that very soon. We've got Igal, we've got Adam Charles, we've got Jessica Black, Brandon joining us very soon. Nketiah, 100K a week. Think about that. I will say this about Nketiah. I've been very disappointed with his performances in the Europa League and when he's come on from the bench. Very little impact. And I think that's one of those deals that even most Arsenal fans in their heart of hearts thought 100K a week. You know, you've only got to look, 7-8 miles away and go to Fulham and look at someone like Mitrovic. Now, maybe he wouldn't have joined an Arsenal because he'd want to be the starter. But I was talking about this earlier on today. Man United need number 9 in January. You think someone like Mitrovic, I'd give him 100 grand a week to be a Man United player. He'll do more than Eddie Nketiah. And he's a different type of player that you can bring on as well. I do agree. Eddie's got to do a lot more in proper games. You know, it's okay doing it against Sunderland in the League Cup. But you've got to do it when it matters. Top 6 club fans celebrating an Arsenal draw. David, I will say this. If you're a fan of the top 6 club and you're not celebrating Arsenal dropping points, I challenge that you love football. You can't be a football fan. You cannot be a football fan. When your rivals lose, yes, absolutely. I don't know why that's become a weird thing to call out. Terry, as long as we bounce back, that's the test, is what prediction says. Of course, that's the most important thing. And it's not as if other teams are not going to drop points. Only last weekend, everybody expected Man City to beat Liverpool. They didn't. You know, teams will drop points. It will happen. You know, no one goes through the season. Literally, if Arsenal had won today, Only one Liverpool team, two City teams, and Chelsea back in Jose's time had more points after 11 games by one. It would have been the second highest points total after 11 games in the history of Premier League football ever. And I went back to like 1980s. It would have been like one of the highest since the 1980s. I don't know, since the war. So that's how good Arsenal's start has been. If they'd have won today, no team in over 30 years has not gone on to win the Premier League after having 30 points or more after 11 games. That's how good this start is from Arsenal. And I think that needs to be always taken into consideration in terms of writing Arsenal off now. That'd be mad. Here we go. The haters coming out. Bro, you got to take it. You've got to take the rough with the smooth as a football fan. It's the way it is. Terry, we beginning to show our true colors is what Abs has got to say here. I don't know. We'll get the panel on to speak about that. Brilliant panel coming very soon. You're not going to get every call. Need to be better is what Tim B has got to say here. Some more super chats. The elbow on Jesus and the headbutt. I don't know. The refs were bad, but we were bad too, is what Chris Walker has got to say. The lack of fullbacks moving into midfield is affecting us, and the lack of squad depth equals less competition is making these players complacent, is what Jorge Salgado has got to say here. Complacency? I don't personally see it as complacency. I think these players are a bit leggy. And no, listen, everyone said October Arsenal are going to be found out. They haven't been found out. They've won every game and drawn one, right? They've not been found out in this month. It's just tough. Points will be dropped. It's as simple as that for me. I don't think there should be an overreaction, but people do think I'm a secret Arsenal fan. So maybe that's why they're going to say that. Thank you, Jorge, for becoming a member of the Terrace, by the way. It means a great deal. Arsenal looked really flat and tired. Yeah, the ref sucked, but our subs let us down. They have to do better when given the chances, is what Ethan says. James here. James here says, disappointed that Jesus didn't get on the score sheet. I know those chances not taken would bite us, is what James Craig has got to say. Let's not overreact, people, and stay calm, is what James Adams has got to say right now. Daniel says, one of our members said, banter club. Spurs kick off in a minute. I would just keep my powder dry right now if I was you, Danny boy. I really would. Control Alt Delete here says it's because they played on Sunday. I don't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in it at all. But yeah, it's never really been my way. I don't really believe in that at all. Zach here says we were poor in the second half, but it's hard to win when the ref's forgotten what a fail is what Zach Taylor has got to say. Now, we're going to bring the panel out very soon, but I've got a caller before that. Okay, so this gentleman, I think his name is Tyler, kind of called out Jess and his gal on Twitter the other day. And essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, he said their opinions are not that great and he could do better. So we've invited him on the terrace. He's here to have his say on Arsenal's performance today. So we're going to bring him out now to have his say with us. Be nice, be gentle, be kind, and we'll bring this individual out now to have his say and debut on the football terrace. Smash the like and the share button. Welcome to the football terrace. What do you want to say?
Can you hear me, fun?
Perfect.
All right. We didn't play well. That was quite evident. I think the ref in the first half was atrocious. But I think overall we did look tired today. Again, like we did at Leeds. Thought we might be better after the PSV performance, but the last 15 minutes after going down were just not what you need in a team that needs 3 points today.
Absolutely. And you kind of called out, you didn't actually get what she said right the other day. You said that Jessica said we didn't press. That isn't what she said. She just said you were looking a little bit tired after all the games. That looked very, very similar today. What's your thoughts on that today, sort of 3 or 4 days later? Similar performance in the second half, a bit of tiredness. Do you now agree with what Jessica Black said?
No, because I was talking more about the PSV game in particular, because they were talking about that game. Like overall, I think in Leeds we were just as bad in that second half. It's again the first half today. We had a couple minutes, but we were good overall. But in PSV, I thought we were excellent.
So what is it that? So what has led to these, like the lack of intensity in these second half performances? Is it the fatigue or complacency, subs, tactics? What has led to these 2 second half performances in the last week?
Well, I think Tomiyasu left back. I love Tommy. I think he's a brilliant player. He's good on the ball, great aerially, but at left back, he's very good on his left, but he refuses to use it much, which limits us to always going inside. And it kind of makes our dynamic very stale. And he's not the greatest going forward. We all know that. I think the subs today were atrocious. I think Martinelli and Odegaard were probably two of our best players. And to take them out for Nketiah, who looked all right, but not that good, not as good as Martinelli. And Vieira, I love the kid, but he's got to do better than that. That was really bad today. And then I think it's also a little bit of complacency more than fatigue. I think they thought we're up 1-0. They didn't really create much. Even they had the one chance they scored on. Other than that, they were just kind of long shots, and they thought we'll just skate through here, 1-0, get through, we'll be fine, and then we'll move on to next week. And clearly, you can't do that in the Prem.
Listen, I understand that, and you clearly understand football. You're talking about it well. I just want to say this before we move on and bring the panel on. Thank you for coming on. I will say this. I know it's easy to call out people who show their faces and present their real names online. I'll always stand by whether I agree with their opinions or not. The panelists that come out here and do that, the Agals, the Jesses, Brandons, Adams, etc. of this world. And, you know, I wanted to give you the opportunity to have your say, but I will say it's very disrespectful to hide behind an account with no name, an account with no face, and just kind of slag people off without doing it yourself. So well done for coming on. But trust me, when you've got to show your real name and your real face, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. So I wanted to say, like, that's not really on for me. That ain't what men do. You sound like a man. So I'm just saying, I'm pushing that back. And well done for coming on.
Can I speak before everyone else?
Be good to get you on and have your say again. I'm afraid we'll let you have your say. I'm bringing the panel out next to have their say, and we can get you on again in future, maybe with the face out, etc. My friend, all right?
I'm just gonna say my face. I would have no problem talking to just Jess with my face out, and I'd say the same things. But it's other people on the internet that I don't like showing my face to. But if I had just talked to Jess, I would have no problem showing my face as long as she would promise not to. Like, I'd have no problem showing my face to people as long as they didn't like show it around and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but the greater internet is.
You mean talk to Jess privately?
Yeah, like if we want to do like a thing where we talk privately, and I would show my face and say the same things, but like as long as it wasn't on the internet, because people, I don't like the whole face thing. It's not why I joined Twitter. It's for me football, really.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Listen, my friend, thank you for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate it. And I'll chat to you again soon. Top man, thank you very much. Thank you. Listen, I've said it to people before. I want to let Chance have his say, but I always defend my panelist till I'm blue in the face. When you show your face and you use your real name, there's a lot of bravery in that. Panel time now, people. Smash the like and the share button for the Football Terrace. Let's do it. Welcome back, everyone. I know you were asking to come on, Jess, but he's not going to talk to you with like he won't show his face unless it's private. But you can FaceTime him later if you want, but it's up to you.
All I'm going to say is that why would he want to talk to me privately? Like, he was online basically saying I was stupid, ugly. You
know? Oh, Jess's thing was awful. Now, so Jess will be back in a minute. I'm not too sure what happened there.
Once she said ugly, she's gone.
Yeah, the internet didn't like it. Igal, I want to come to you first. Actually, Jess is back now, so I'm not too sure what happened there. Yeah, sorry, Jess. No, I get it. Listen, he was talking. Do you know the craziest thing he said online the other day? And then we'll go back to the football. He said he called like the Football Terrace clickbait, and we just do it for interactions. And then after he slagged off Jess and Igal online, he quote tweeted saying, "Oh my God, look at all the likes and clicks and new followers I got. I'm going to do this more often." The irony in that is
he said slandering Jess is the way to go to build his account. So no, I won't talk to you privately. You weren't better than me. And next time, show your face. It's not that easy to come out here with your government name and show your face and actually put out your true opinions. You didn't say anything smart. You didn't say anything different to what anybody else would say on here. And you basically agreed with me anyway that we were freaking fatigued. That's exactly what I said. Now that it's popular to say it because we got punished for it, now people want to be honest. It's okay to be honest about your team. Doesn't mean that you hate the team or you're negative, so.
People take kindness for weakness. But I'll tell you this, the guy said, "Oh, Igal, you're a beta or this and that." And I'll tell you this, you came on and you're very timid. You were very quiet. Maybe you need to, next time you come on, speak a little bit louder, enunciate better, and you might be able to actually do something like we do.
Totally agree, and I can confirm. I've been in private surroundings, not alone, but private surroundings with the gal, and the gal is 100% alpha. I can confirm that live on the air. So there we listen. Listen, I don't always agree with everybody's opinions, but I'll stand up for my people and my panelists every single time. The game though, Egal, what happened? Is it fatigue? Referee, did they cost you today? What's going on today, Egal?
Terry, let me just run through my thoughts. When Granit Xhaka scored his goal, I was like, yes, Granit Xhaka scoring again. I was so gassed. I was like, yo, he's doing what he's doing what we wanted him to do for so long, getting forward. And also the what you said earlier, scoring 2 goals back to back with his right foot, I was surprised. Ben White also getting forward, doing the overlapping run. At that point, I'm like, yes, this is the platform for us to kick on, get a second goal, game done. But that second goal never came. And it just kept getting further and further and further into the game. And Southampton kept growing and growing into the game. Second half performance was poor. Odegaard in the first half was outstanding. And he was proving a lot of people wrong by getting back, winning balls, saving us on counterattacks. And I thought Odegaard had a good game. I thought there was some really good standout performances in the first half. But in the second half, let's call a spade a spade. A lot of the guys were poor. And I could go all day about the refereeing decisions. I actually wrote this down. Gabriel Jesus should have been at least a penalty maybe once, and maybe at least 2 yellow cards, and he's sent off. One or the other. Saka, that was not a dive. Anybody who's saying that's a dive, when you push somebody and you trip them, how is that a dive? If this is the WWE or rugby, I would understand, but that's not it. That's not it. He literally has his hand on him and he used his foot to push him over. Next, you have the Ben White situation. Immediately after that, Terry, Ben White got pushed in the corner of the box. Then they clear it, and the same foul was happened outside the box for Southampton, and they stopped the play and said free kick Southampton. So once again, no consistency. And finally, this is not even that big of a deal, but Granit Xhaka got sent off for choking a player, or Pepe, one of them, and someone recently got sent off for at least making a headbutt type motion. This guy went to Eddie Nketiah and did a similar thing. I don't like that. 2 points dropped. Referee, we could talk about them all day, but we should have done better. I expect us to do better. We should push on. And you know what? I'm not going to get carried away. There's some mixed performances. Gabriel Jesus, I'm not handling any Gabriel Jesus slander. Yes, he should have scored, but he really only had 4 chances on goal. And those 4 chances, 2 of them were blocked. 2 of them were blocked, and 1 of them was on target. Realistically, let's not make it seem like Gabriel Jesus. This is why we don't deserve nice things sometimes, because we destroy them and try to criticize them so much. Like, Gabriel Jesus was not that bad today. Everyone's making it seem like he's the biggest scapegoat. Before it was Odegaard. The other day it was Gabriel Magalhaes. Every day, are we going to just try to pick one player to blame the whole performance on? Everyone was terrible in the second half. Keep it consistent. Don't say one player was. Everyone was. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that this is the first time that this team really, I think, has played multiple games in a week, and we're starting to see that pile up, and our performances are dipping, and we just haven't been ourselves. And some of it is not like our passes are bad or anything like that. It's just the not being clinical. Like, that's a part of it as well. Like, at the beginning of the season, we were so sharp. This time, it's like we're getting into the same areas, but we're making little mistakes. We're not putting the ball in the back of the net. And so it's catching up to us. And we played, 3 or 4 games away from home, and we've won 3 and drawn 1. So grand scheme, it's not a big deal. It's fine. But we just know that this team doesn't have the depth probably that it needs going forward. And I know Brandon spoke about it a lot. We've kind of spoken back and forth about it in different group chats about how we need to reinforce in January. This team's not going to make it. Like, it's just not. And Vieira and Eddie gave us absolutely nothing in that game in terms of a spark, in terms of energy. How can you be fatigued? You haven't really been playing. So we're really in a situation where that starting 11 is so good, but they're getting minutes in their legs and they're not looking like how they did at the beginning of the season. That's normal. We just need to still grind out these results. Like, we can't get into losing games and stuff like that. So I'm disappointed. I think if in the first half we put away one of those chances that we have, beyond the Xhaka chance, we're not talking about this. But we left them in the game too long, and then we fell asleep defensively. So yeah, we got punished finally. And hopefully we turn it around against Nottingham Forest at home and get the 3 points, because I think next we have Chelsea, and that's going to be a really difficult game.
No, we have Forest.
Yeah, Forest first, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I get that. Look, I think watching it as an outsider, I mean, you definitely dipped a little bit in that second half, and people will look into it that it's happened 2 games running, but this is what form does. Like, you were never going to play 38 games how you did in those opening 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's the thing for me around not being like the same people that say don't be hyperbolic and reactionary when you have your greatest start to a league campaign in 109 years. Are the same people saying this is it. This is definitive proof that Arsenal were a hype job and you're going to fall away and crumble. Arsenal not missing out on top 4 this year. It's simply not happening, in my opinion. Even without reinforcements, you won't win the league maybe without reinforcements, but just dropping off and coming 5th or 6th. Like, I think that's crazy talk as of right now. How about yourself, Adam? What was your thoughts on the game? Is this a bit of fatigue, or do you feel like actually, if the ref did his job properly, you could have got a couple of penalties, put them away, and the game would have been put to bed before the fatigue set in?
Yeah, it's tough. The Gabriel Jesus one is tough because that one's the easiest one to say is a penalty, especially considering what we saw yesterday. His arms around him, whether it was for too long or too short, it's a foul. And if it's a foul anywhere else in the pitch, it should be a foul in the box as well. So yeah, for me that was a clear penalty. The Saka one, a little bit harder to argue. I think there was probably a push in his back, but I do feel like Saka made contact with the defender's leg rather than the other way around. So that one's a little bit more difficult to argue. But either way, I do think the Gabriel Jesus one should have been given regardless. Mostly though, I feel like we kind of took it for a joke. There were a few like slack passes. We looked a little bit complacent. And then on top of that, I think, as Jess was saying, we were probably a little bit tired as well. So it was a combination of factors that just meant that we didn't really do our best. We didn't perform to the level that we know we can, and the level that we've been doing this whole season anyway. So yeah, it's difficult, man. But I do think that will bounce back. I don't see this being a major thing. I don't see this being something that where our season gets derailed and now all of a sudden this is the Arsenal that people have been waiting to see for ages. I reckon it's just a minor blip, and I think it was more self-inflicted than Southampton outplaying us and really like drumming us, and we managed to escape with a lucky point. I think we'll be fine, and I'm not panicking.
Can I just address Mark Nurse really quickly? Like, you're saying, okay, don't blame fatigue because United, Chelsea, Spurs, City, and West Ham have all had Europe as well, but they've dropped points. They've dropped more points than we have. We're in first. So like, I don't really understand that. Like, I think most of us are saying that like we didn't play that well, but fatigue does come into it. And it's the exact reason why so many people have said that we won't make top 4 and we won't win the league is because we're going to be playing multiple games a week. So that like if everybody else is dropping points too. So like I don't really get that point. I didn't get it.
This is what I would say to Mark's comment is everyone approaches the season differently. So no one team preps the same. You guys prepared and you did whatever you did in pre-season made you start the season at your sharpest. Others prefer to start slightly less sharp and sharpen over the course of the season. But you'll always get these peaks and troughs. I'm not saying you guys are burnt out. You're not going to get back. You might find that Arsenal go through a 4 or 5 game period. Ironically, that will be then the World Cup, where you're not quite as sharp. But you still pick up almost maximum points. And then that sharpness returns for you, almost like your second wind. You've all done that when you've been training or playing football. You start well. You get about 30 minutes and you're flagging. You think, I can't play on. And suddenly you get your second wind and you're okay for the rest of the game. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think that we are only 11 games in. Everyone goes through these little poor moments, and I just think it's a little bit reactionary to turn around and suggest that. I'm going to come to Brendan and Mo in a minute. I want to do some of these super chats. I don't want to miss these. This result feels like a loss. Vieira is nowhere near as good as Odegaard. Man got bullied today. His lack of physicality for the Premier League. No Arsenal fans should cry about the red. They have had luck of the green for most of the season. It evens itself out. You deserve this, ref. Igal, how did you like seeing Arsenal bullied by City's academy? Loved seeing Bazunu take out Nketiah. Dozy turning Saliba is what he says there. Same old Arsenal fans. When they were winning, no mention of referee decisions. Now they drop points. It's the ref's fault. Drinking Igal's tears right about now. Excuses.
I literally said the whole team was poor in the second half. That's absolute BS. Come on.
Excuses FC, blame the referee FC, and Bottle Jobs FC are back. I love this. Jesus, this is the Jesus of City. When he first came, he scored 9 from 10 and kept the Aguero on the bench. That was the last run he ever had at the end of his clinical thing. So they're basically saying that he starts well and it dies off. Yep. Again, Saliba was not good. Thoughts? What do you say to that, Ben? Before, Saliba not good again? Really? Brendan, you there? Sorry. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
You call me Ben.
I thought you said
Right,
Ben.
I was like, Ben.
I think I made a mistake. There you go. And by the way, I've admitted a mistake. People say I never admit my mistakes. There you go. There's one. I call Brendan Ben.
Saliba. Again, I don't. I think he made one or two little mistakes and that he hasn't been making at the beginning of the season, but nothing major. I mean, for me, I'm hearing a lot of the guys saying about fatigue. I mean, I get it. I get fatigue's part of it, definitely. But I don't like to use that as an excuse too much because every team's had to play twice this week. And yeah, okay, there's teams that have dropped points and this, that, and the other. But it's not like we had to travel to PSV. You know, that game was being played at the Emirates. For me, a lot of this today comes down to complacency because we didn't look fatigued in the first half. We actually looked very good going forward. Southampton, I believe, didn't even have a touch in our box until the 35th minute. They wasn't even in the game. And to me, we just came out in the second half with the wrong attitude, almost like we was just going to walk through this game like the game was already done because it was so easy in the first half. And you can't be complacent like that because that's what happens. You know, you end up coming out of there with a draw, which, let's be honest, Southampton are not a great footballing team at all. They was really struggling to get a point on the board. I don't think they've actually picked up any points since, was it Chelsea or something like that? So it's not like they outplayed us or anything like that. I just think we was really complacent today. I don't think Arteta got the substitutes right either, especially with the Fabio Vieira and bringing off Martinelli as well. I was very surprised to see that because I actually thought Martinelli was our most dangerous player. But Fabio Vieira, like a couple of the guys have already mentioned, he just got bullied in the centre of the park. He didn't really come on and do anything, you know. And it's difficult when, you know, your first 11 is very good and can pretty much compete with anybody. I think we can all see that, but strength in depth is just not good enough, and I think that's what's going to end up costing us in the end if we don't strengthen in January, like Jess said. So, you know, we could see one or two more of these results, like shock results against teams that we should be beating, especially if we end up, you know, being as complacent as what we was in that second half.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know. With Vieira, I think I've seen enough from him to feel like he has talent.
Yep.
But if you're gonna throw him in at that point in the game, I just didn't think that was the right time to put him in. I just think that he needs to play in kind of easier settings for now until he gets his feet, because he's definitely somebody that's still adapting to the league. He really hasn't played enough games in the Premier League. And I get that we want to have subs that can come in and make a difference. We just don't have that right now. And we have to build onto that. Hopefully they do that in January. That's why I'm really make sure you bring in somebody that has that's been around for a while. You know, don't bring in more kids. We don't really need that. And so I'll back Vieira. I do think Vieira is a good player and probably just needs to come in to games when we're winning or, you know, whatever. He's not going to turn around and win us the game in a difficult situation. And let's be real, Southampton or PMP, they have a lot of really strong physical players. And yeah, he got bullied. But the second thing is Jesus. I don't know, if people are shocked, but we're getting exactly what we bought. We were not swindled in any way by Manchester City. We're getting the exact player that we thought we were getting. Flair, physicality, fast, good player, technical ability, but consistently underperforms his XG. And so the team is going to have to finish their chances. Like, it cannot be, he's not 25 goal a season striker. He's not going to be that. And so we need to put the chances away when we get them. And so that might end up being an issue. And maybe that's what we need to look at in January, as a player that's just like an out and out goal scorer, just maybe that's what we need to do. But we're getting exactly what we bought in Jesus. I don't know why anybody's surprised.
Yeah, putting aside his GA though, I actually thought he was quite poor as well today. Like, normally his hold at play and his technical ability is always very good. He comes back, creates a few little spaces and passes in behind. And I didn't see much of that from him today. I thought he got bullied as well in a way.
He's never really played this amount of games in a row. He hasn't. At City, he was there for like 4 years. He never consistently played 8-9 games in a row, 90 minutes. And I also think he's never been relied upon. So there's still, I think, some growing and maturing that needs to come in for Gabriel Jesus. It needs to get better. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not saying that he doesn't need to get better, but like, we're getting exactly what we paid for. And like, we just need to hope that he grows through that, because he's never done it before. He's never really led the line.
I don't think you're gonna get the amount
upon.
of goals needed from a forward though. I don't think you're gonna get. You need wingers that will score. Like, you need the likes of Sterling at City. Like even Gabriel Jesus, when he used to play, the wingers used to contribute more. Saka is doing great, and he's scoring Martinelli as well. But they are not like the Sterling, the Riyad Mahrez, who's gonna score. Like, you need these people to step up, because Gabriel Jesus link-up play, I think it's immense. I think the reason why you have authority on these games every time. When you play Palace, the first game, you had authority for 45 minutes. You play Brentford away, you had authority the whole game, 90 minutes. And that's the sign of a team that is connecting with each other great. But you need the wingers to contribute more goals. You cannot just sleep like Leeds 1-0. You were, let's say, lucky. You're not lucky. They were unlucky not to score, yes. But you didn't have the authority for 90 minutes. Today, in the first half, I think I was watching Pep's magnificent City. 60% ball position. You're controlling him. You're actually passing inside the 18. It was great to watch. But in the second half, you're going to call it fatigue. I'm going to call it's fear. You're fearing for the 3 points. And then everybody dropped back. It's on the coach. It's on the inexperienced players. You have very, very young.
Are you saying that we dropped into our box and just tried to contain for
No,
the draw?
we just lacked intensity, Jess, in the second half. We weren't
exactly like
we
they were playing through your lines. They were
away.
passing the ball easy in the midfield. I thought that they were passing the ball easy in the midfield. Your press was not as high as the first half. I thought every time I'm watching Southampton that second half, something can happen from them. By the first half, as you guys said, there was nothing going for them. Every time they tried to string a couple of passes together, you were on top of them.
Must be watching a different game, boy.
Yeah, I mean, because when you say step back, like basically what you're trying to say is that we backed off of them and sat in our box, right?
No. You were,
because how many?
You were 2 steps behind in every pass in the midfield.
So how is that? How is that not? Okay, I get what you're saying. Like, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. For me, it was fatigue. Like, I'm looking at our players. Everybody, even the commentators, people that like, they could tell that we're leggy. We know what our players look like. They look tired.
Did everybody from that starting 11 play Thursday?
A lot of them did.
A lot of them did, bro.
About 4 guys started, right? 5 guys started that game.
They started, but we made subs. Just because you don't start
like 30 minutes. I think that some of them should.
Xhaka started. Gabriel Jesus started. Those are 2 players that clearly looked off.
So you think you're second to the challenges the second half? You were 2 steps behind.
On your point, I did feel like it took Southampton's goal to get us back into gear to try to actually push for that goal, and it was like there was maybe it was a level of complacency, or maybe it's the fact that we've been able to see out games where we're ahead, like the Leeds game. We thought maybe we could just shut up shop, but honestly, going back to Jesus' point, Guys,
That's the same
Gabriel
thing, though,
Jesus,
isn't
I
it,
get
Gal?
it.
That's
He
complacency.
hasn't scored in 2 games, but it could also be that he's just coming back from an injury, and we're seeing a guy who's still getting back into a situation after getting injured. I know he didn't miss time in that injury,
No,
but
I
maybe that
get that.
maybe the face injury or something that happened to him in that Liverpool game is still causing him some
But
discomfort.
I think the Jesus situation and your form are happening at the same time, but they're the same thing. I think there is a bit of fatigue, there's a bit of tiredness, there is a lack of form, but this is so normal. Like I think we have to understand that in football, there have been 1 or 2 players in the last 20 years and a handful of teams that have seasons where they're just scintillating from start to finish and there's very little dip. It's so normal for a player to have 7, 8, 9 games like Jesus did and then be within himself for 4, 5, 6 games, and then he'll bounce back and have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games again where he's brilliant, and then have some like this kind of this world of Messi and Ronaldo where they're just brilliant from start of the season to the end of the season for a decade. Like that should never be the barometer. Even when you think about like City are renowned for being slow starters in the Premier League, and they get to sort of the November, December time, and they kick on and go into another gear. It just is what it is. But the start of the season, they look a bit leggy, they look a bit ropey, and I think that's because they do their training and their fitness in preseason in a way where they don't want to peak at the beginning. They want to peak mid to the end of the campaign rather than at the start. So I think a little bit too much is being read into Jesus' form, and Arsenal been poor in the last week. Yeah, and we've seen other teams. We've seen Tottenham have up and down so far this season. We've seen City drop. I mean, City have dropped points in more games than Arsenal this year so far, and they've got the squad depth. They've got a better manager. They've got the experience. So all the things that are being labelled at Arsenal, City, who are considered the best team in the world, have gone through more of that than they have.
Like people
I just mentioned one
I feel like
positive that
people
we're
are
not
just
speaking about.
overthinking it. Like I just don't like after this amount of games, you're gonna see the form go a little bit like this. And for me, if you're grinding out results and you're not losing, how many times do we watch other teams that we consider really, really good not play their best but still get results? And we're like, damn, we need to be doing that. Now that we're doing that, it's, oh no, but Southampton, they could have, how many touches did they have in our box? Like it really wasn't, we just didn't perform as good as we could have. I think it was fatigue, but like, it's not that deep.
I was going to say this though. We're not really talking about the positives, Jess. We're not really talking about any positives. I know it's a draw, but take away from the game. We've seen something from Ben White that we haven't been seeing too much, really. We've seen him overlap for that opening goal, get an assist. We don't really see that. We haven't really seen much of that from Ben White. So it's good to see him getting into that position, doing what he's doing. And that's what I need to see from him. He's going to be playing in that right back position, making those overlapping runs, getting that box, crossing it in, and creating us more chances. And that was a good goal. And I felt like Xhaka's form right now, he is something else. I just need to say, you know what? If we can take one thing away from this start of the season, granted, Xhaka, giving him that new contract was a good thing because it really kickstarted his season right now, and he's playing like this guy has more goals than Aubameyang, Cristiano Ronaldo, some of these top strikers in the league, and he's outperforming them in GA. And that's not even his job, but he's doing it, and it's crazy to me.
I just want to say on Xhaka, then I'm gonna do some super chats. There's one Arsenal fan that needs more praise for this than anyone else, and he's sitting in the bottom right corner. Adam Charles was a Xhaka fan 5 years ago, and I'm going to point out but even before the swearing at the fans, when everyone didn't like him, this guy was like, he's the guy who'll show us. Adam Charles is the only Arsenal fan on the internet that gets credit for this.
What about Harry?
I didn't know Harry 5 years ago. I don't know what he said, but I'm just saying, Adam Charles was out here doing it. Adam used to get laughed at by Arsenal fans for saying it.
Bro, weekly. And it's only now that it's coming to fruition. It's a shame that it's taken this long, but I'm glad that he's not left the amount of times that he could have done, and he's showing his quality now because we're all seeing it. And it was always there. Granted, Xhaka, brilliant player. And I hope part of me hopes he goes deeper in the World Cup so that he can prove it even more. But also, I don't want him to, so he can come back to Arsenal a little bit sooner and fresh.
I get that. I get that. Some super chats here. Tim here says, I think it means Saka's tackle was exactly the same as Silva's yesterday, but one was given, one wasn't. I don't think it was a foul. but as always, consistency in the refs is a problem. Is it me, or is there a slight disconnect between the defense and midfield when playing out from the back? So I didn't think it was that. I think it was in the second half. It was the intensity needed in terms of how quickly you pass the ball and the movement and runs from players to break. How you break a low block down is quick passing and movement. Of course, the passes have got to be good. If you do that, if there's lots of movement and quick passing, you can break down any low block. It's exhausting doing it. Sometimes you can manage games too much. All this 3-1, okay, let's pack it up attitude. That's why we have no fourth quarter. Maybe. It's a good point. Never thought about it like that, but that's a good point. Seeing Arsenal fans turn on players again is giving me flashbacks. No one's turned anyone
Did we turn on the players? I
Well,
don't
no,
know if we
like
did.
I heard
not
you
gonna
all
lie.
say that Vieira is trash. No, you didn't really.
on social media, there is like a growing. We need to talk about Jesus. We need to talk about Jesus. We need to talk about Jesus. He's definitely
Just
on the
like
cards
Odegaard
as
last
the
week.
next. Yeah, he's definitely on the cards as like the next.
What is there to
person.
talk about? Like everyone was saying he was transformational for us, but weeks ago. So what is there to talk about with Gabriel Jesus?
Because we always have to have somebody that we're about to stick a knife in the back of. That's how this fan base works. And so we don't like to ride it out like with players in terms of their form. We want to kill them off. You know what I mean? And so like I just think you have to ride through it. Because ultimately, I do think the fans, we could be honest about his performances, but do you think he's actually sitting there thinking that this is amazing? Like he knows. So like, this is the thing about Arsenal fans that really just piss me off. Saliba hasn't been amazing. He hasn't been crap, but he hasn't been amazing. But when he makes mistakes, it's da 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 da. But when other people make mistakes or they don't have good games, oh my God, gotta get rid. Oh my God. Like, it's so annoying. Like, it really, really is. Why don't we have the same energy for everybody? Why is it only
No,
like
because
one
people have
players
fan
get loved?
favorites, Jess. We seen it with Kieran Tierney a couple years ago. People have fan favorites. Players can make mistakes, but I just don't. I'm just saying, Gabriel Jesus. We know what he is. We know who he is, and he's a player who's definitely increased our quality in that final third. Don't think that every single game he's gonna bag a goal or he's gonna get a brace every single game.
Yeah.
Yes, today he was a little bit off the boil, but it's not so bad where you're gonna say, "Yo, this guy can't score." Like,
But it all goes back.
What it is. I'm
Go on,
seeing
go on,
people. I'm
It all
not
goes-
saying I'm seeing people sell him out or anything like that. But Jess, you're right. When it comes to today's performance, they're now going to say if they see it again against Nottingham Forest at home, or he doesn't even get a goal at Nottingham Forest at home, then it's agendas start, and people just keep pushing agendas. Relax. We're still top of the league. We're still performing well. The team goes peaks and troughs. When other people step up, you're going to see certain people take the back seat. And over the last couple of weeks, we've seen Saka step up. We've seen Martinelli step up at a time, and we've seen Jesus step up. They all take turns. We still get to the same result at the end of the year. That's
The
what
forward is not only about the goals, right, Igal? It's not only about the goals. Like if you have a number 9, a big forward, your link-up play might not be the same. Your press might not be the same. The way you go from the sides might not be the same. I don't understand this. He doesn't score. He's not a good player. We need to slander him. I don't get it. Like the guy, if you watch the game, the guy is one of the reasons why you play the football you play. So I don't get it. Why people are like, do you want a Mitrovic in your club that won't just stay in the box? Maybe he will get you goals, but everybody else won't play the same.
Something different off the bench.
But you know what?
But that's the problem. That's why you renewed KT's contract. That's
Mo. I think having something different on the bench is a fair criticism, but that isn't a Gabriel Jesus problem. That's a club problem.
Exactly.
But back to what go on, Brian, and I'll say a bit after. Go on, Brian.
This is what I was going to say. It all goes back to squad depth, and like Jess was saying, you know, like with the whole fan base thing, and if Jesus doesn't score for a couple of games, all of a sudden we start to worry. The reason why that we are the way that we are is because we know we haven't got anybody who can come in and do half as good a job as Jesus. So it all comes back to squad depth and how the club is at the moment with the squad depth and that, because we're so heavily reliant on Jesus, and we shouldn't be so heavily reliant on Jesus, that we can't afford for him to dip in and out of form, because that could cost us in the long term. So, you know, again, I just think squad depth, we need to sort it out in January massively.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I just want to say about the fan favorites thing. You are right, Agal. There are fan favorites, but you've got to remember the reason that certain players get piled upon and certain players get more support it is based on fan favorites, but it's also very much based on narcissism. And what I mean by that is, people, you saw the guy that came on earlier and he sent me a nice DM. He's like, I'd like to come on more. I felt welcomed. Great. But I will be telling him straight, you respect my panel. You can challenge opinions, but you don't go for people like that. People will go with, right, what is the best take that gets me likes, retweets, and followers? So if people see that being nice about Saliba grows you followers and being detrimental about Gabriel Jesus gains you followers, and being happy about Xhaka's resurgence gets you followers, that's what people do. And how you know this is by the fact that, especially the big accounts, it's like they sit in a room and plan their tweets together and put them out. There's no way, in my opinion, that you can get 50 random Arsenal fans from probably 7 or 8 different countries around the world in different time zones, whose mother tongues might be vary between 5 or 6 different mother tongues, who almost tweet the same identical tweets almost exactly the same time. It's, they put that out. I reckon they copy paste, change a couple of words and post it themselves. It's all for traction. And it doesn't mean that some of those opinions aren't right. It's people are not sharing what they truly think. They're saying, what am I saying that toes a party line? And it's why you, Igal, get stick sometimes. Not for being wrong, but for saying what isn't popular. Jess gets stick because she says what isn't popular. Brandon, I know you've had stick for saying what isn't popular. And some of your opinions have been right. Some of them have ended up being wrong, but you always admit when you're wrong. But people don't even want to wait for that.
Japanese Bellerin, that was not a good one, Brandon.
But I just said, though, he got it wrong and he admitted he was wrong. He did come out and say it was wrong. The point is, though, when he said that, it was completely unacceptable. Can you imagine if Tommy actually went the other way right now? Now it would be popular to say what Brandon said. This is the thing. People don't speak their minds anymore. It's right. What is acceptable in the Overton window? That's what I'm going to do. And it's boring. And do you know the irony? Every time those people try and launch YouTube accounts, I'm going to make it big now. No one ever watches, because why do you want to watch where everyone knows what you're going to say? You know, you need that variety. It's key. We've got some more super chats here to do. Took our foot off the gas to conserve energy. Tommy passed backwards too much when he didn't need to. Odegaard disappeared. Jesus always over plays chances, is what Sky King has got to say here. Super chat from Chris, Crispy Rice here. Says we couldn't break down the low block. The game was called really... What's that word there? Liberally, sorry. Okay, all right, I guess what it means there. We have to live with that and move on. Poor performance with a draw. A good take there, my friend. I'm still waiting to see us make the top 4. I'm not sure, is what Abs has got to say. Southampton are a good team. They've always beaten and got points against the big teams. So we win some, we draw some. On to the next. Come on, you gooners. De Boy says, as a Liverpool fan, the loss to Forest yesterday hurts even more, considering United, Arsenal, and Chelsea dropped points. Sad times to be a Liverpool fan. That's true. And equally, your Arsenal's draw today, not that we're winning the league, Man United, but I do feel better now about it because you guys have dropped points as well. It is good. Terry, did you see the Yuri? Yes, I did see the Yuri Tillemans goal. Sensational. And Leicester are now... Listen, I'm so glad Man United played Leicester away at the beginning of the season, because you could be playing... Sometimes timing is so key in this league when you play a team. Same as Brighton and Brentford are probably glad they played us at the beginning of the season. Very true. Rival fans hate having to look up at us, Arsenal at the top. Where's your team at haters? Look up, lol. Come on, you gooners. How about you didn't play well enough to win? No excuses.
Cheers, mate. And
good for Lee Gunner and the guy in the bottom left corner, Lee Gunner's little brother, as they like to call him at times. Always makes you laugh when people call you. And in fairness, next to me we have Leanne Gunner as well. And it's every time someone says something isn't within the Overton window, it always happens. But there we go. Listen, viewers, I appreciate you all tuning in. All the super chatters, thank you. Please smash the like button before you leave. I really do appreciate everyone that does that. But until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. We're back live after Tottenham versus Newcastle. Still 0-0 in that game. So I'm going to go and watch that now, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And thank you.